TNTM, the show presents Comicast 342 with your host, Pablo Gunner, and I'm here to talk to you about June 13th comic books. I'm going to be giving away the digital codes for any of them that I have here, and I'm going to be reviewing them as well. So I have a grade scale here, and it is buy, skim, pass with variations: strong buy, weak buy, strong skim, weak skim, pass is pass. There's also terms like contender, runner-up, and B-bow. And what that means is contender, I'll say, hey, this is a contender, and that means it's contender for runner-up or back and bag of the week, best book of the week. That's what we call our best book of the week, the back and bag, because we put it in a back and bagging sleeve. I don't have one with me directly with me right now, but I got one somewhere. So anyways, believe me, please. So that's what I do. And I have a sound effect go off after a minute because it's just me reviewing these books right now. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So is once that goes up, it's time for me to wrap it up. There's a lot of books this week, mostly Marvel stuff, but there's a lot of books. So I'm just going to jump into it. I'm going to try to do this as short as possible, as quick as possible, as much time, whatever. Cool? So here we go. I am going to start with Titan Special number 1. It's $4.99, and you would think it would have a digital code, but it doesn't, unfortunately. It's from the events of Justice League No Justice. So yeah, and it's essentially Nightwing, and he's chasing this girl. She has powers now since the source wall broke, and it was stupid because there's a guy and he's yelling at Nightwing, and he's like, "Hey, stop chasing that girl. She's scared." And he's like, "No, it's fine. I've been doing this for forever. You don't know what you're talking about." And she ends up jumping out of the train and killing herself from the other train that's crossing by. And he's like, "I didn't notice she was upset and she was scared for her life, you know, and so I need help. I need to bring a team together." And he goes and he tells the Justice League this, and the Justice League is like, "Yeah, we sanction it." And he's like, "I'm not telling you, I'm not here for your permission. I'm just telling you I'm going to do it." And so then it's him recruiting, and so that's what he does. And so they're like, "Hey, we have a list for you." He goes and he gets Raven, he gets Beast Boy, which he can't control his powers anymore. Not really sure why. You have Donna Troy, and let's see who else. Some girl that's like the daughter or something of Steel. I don't know. That weirded me out and didn't really make sense to me. And then Martian Manhunters. They say like not daughter, like niece or something, but McGann, right? McGann. So she's part of the squad too, and yeah. So yeah, it's really solid. It's really great. Dan Abnett is writing. Sergio Davila and Vicente Cifuentes, Brent Peoples and Matt Santorelli, Brian Ching, Nicolas Scott, Max Rayner, and Matt Santorelli, Ben Oliver as art. Luis Guerrero, Marcelo Maiolo, Michael Ataya, Jordi Belair, Dene Ribeiro, Romulo Fajardo, and colors, and then Dave Sharp is letters. Surprisingly well balanced visually, considering how many artists there are. It was not a cluster, so that was impressive, and I like that. So this is a book that I can. It's definitely a lead up. It's a great lead up. I think it would be a great number 1. It's just a special, but it works really well, and I like it a lot. So, and it changes things for a lot of these characters. It's a little confusing for Beast Boy because I'm like, how did he change? But whatever. I would give it a strong buy and a contender. Moving on to Thor number 1. This is $5.99. I believe it has a digital code. First story, God of Thunder Reborn. Jason Aaron writer, artist Mike Del Mundo, with color assists from Marco Di Alfonso. writer Jason Aaron, and artist Christian Ward for the second story, The Grace of Thor. And then letterer is Joe Sabino. So the first one is, now he has a gold arm. He doesn't have the obsidian arm, but he still has the Jarnborn axe. And so apparently Asgardia was destroyed. And so not even Asgard, but Asgardia, just a whole different thing. And so now Thor is like, oh yeah, there's stuff in the throne room. I have to recoup it. And so one of them is like this eye for like the Sidorak. And so of course Sidorak and Juggernaut's more powerful than ever before. And so they face off. And so Thor's actually getting his butt whooped, and he's like, send me hammers, send me all the hammers. And so he kind of combines all these hammers into one, and it's gold, and it goes along with his golden arm. And so he's finally able to whoop some butt. The Bifrost Bridge is broken, you know, and stuff. He fights Namor, and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, so I thought Jane Foster was dead, but she's being healed. And yeah. And then second story, it's the old man and his daughters and his granddaughters and stuff, and how the universe is dying. And yeah. So it looks really amazing. Both of them are really amazing, really interesting, really cool. Yeah, great stuff. It's Jason Aaron. It's the same stuff he's been writing this whole time. So yeah, I can give it a strong buy and a contender. Here's a digital code: C for Carlos, T for Tomas, V for Villanueva, L for Lupita, N for Novela, K for Kilo, 1, 0, I for Ignacio, U for Uganda, X for Xavier, D for Diego. Moving on to Stellar number 1, and this is Joe Keatinge as the writer, artist Brett Blevins, letterer Russ Rutan. Yeah, and that's that. So it's this lady, and she's pulling this alien around in chains and stuff. It's talking, and she just keeps on having these flashbacks to like she did something horrible, killed all these aliens and stuff. She goes in for this bounty, and like the bounty isn't good anymore because the states are all in disarray. So she's like, all right, I'm going to do something else with you. You see some more flashbacks of she's essentially a weapon, and she's landing, and she, you know, takes all these people out, but she doesn't want to do it, so she fights her other weapon people. And that's what's going on, and they show up again. And I didn't care for the art, and I didn't really find it that interesting, and I just don't really care that much. Don't even feel like picking it up for a second issue because I already feel like it's decent, but it's just not for me. And it's weird because it's space stuff, and it's a chick that's, you know, fighting the system and stuff, and I like that type of thing, but I just don't, I don't know, just visually, and just, I'm like, this feels very basic. I don't know, it just feels very like, I've seen this before, it's been done before, you know, type thing. I don't know. So I'll give it a skim. Next is Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 1. It's The Thing and Infamous Iron Man, surprisingly enough. And I don't even know who the creative team is on here. It doesn't really say. But oh well. So we have these flashbacks to when he was actually, his dad was training him and teaching him and stuff. And then we get back to this other universe with Doom in the Iron Man armor, but still wearing a hood cape thing. I don't know why. It doesn't really make sense. And he's with the Thing, and they're checking out this other Doom and stuff. He's like, yeah, I need this tech. Well, this Doom just killed the Thing and Stretch and Mr. Fantastic. And so then there's this device, and he hits it, and it turns out to be this universe, or this pocket universe type thing, where it's all these Reed Richards helping together to fix the universe. And he's like, you did something to my mind. What did you do? You messed with me. And he's like, I changed your memories. I deleted, you know, I fixed your face. You know, I did all these things so that you would be good. And he's like, oh, you didn't have the right. He's like, fine, you can have your memory back. And he's like, but hopefully you still do better. And so he ends up fighting to save Ben. And so he has to, and he ends up killing the other Doom. He's like, yeah, be better. But he just kills this other Doom. It's pretty vicious, but it's like, well, he saved Ben Grimm, so that's good, you know? So like, it's just kind of, you know, one of those things you're like, I don't know how to feel about it, you know? It's a great book. It looks fantastic. It clears some things up too, and it's really cool and it's really interesting. But I think this other timeline is they're showing this flashback of this other Doom where he was raised by his father, not by his mom, because I don't think his father was ever around. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, this is really solid. I liked it a lot. It was really great, really interesting, and it fills in some pockets. So strong buy and a contender. Here's the digital code, though. Q for Quinn, J for Jack, X for X-Men, 623, L for Logan, R for Richter, J for Jack, M for Marvel, H for Hank, A for Alpha. And I have the Weatherman #1, and that is written by creators. It says Jody Leheap and Nathan Fox. Writer Jody Leheap. Artist Nathan Fox. Colorist Dave Stewart. Letter Steve Wands. So you just have this orb talking to this old lady. I think it's like memories of her dead husband. She's talking to this other lady, this redheaded lady. They're going out for this memorial and stuff. And yeah, and then they're like, hey, Weatherman, you know, they're doing the news and they're like, where the heck is the Weatherman? And they're like, you're late. And he's like, no, I have plenty of time, you know, 30 minutes to get to work and do the news. He has this dog he loves. He brushes its teeth. He takes it with him everywhere. And he strolls in and he starts right away. And he's just crazy, wacky, wild guy. He's just living in the moment, you know, enjoying life and, you know, just being crazy and stuff. And so they love him. Everybody loves him and stuff. But then you see these bounty hunters and they're going after somebody. And so there's this redheaded girl that you saw before, and she's a bartender, and he's trying to take her out on a date. Well, he took her out on a date before. He won't give up, so he's trying to take her out again. She agrees to it and stuff. Then those bounty hunters, they attack, and oh my God, they take out the dog, and it's the saddest thing ever. And turns out this lady is like, they're arresting him because they think he's the one that caused this horrible thing. Really interesting, looks great, really fluid. I like the style a lot. It's really interesting. I'm really impressed with this. I give this a strong buy and a contender without a doubt. I will definitely be adding this to my list over at Age of Comics. Cool. And then I have Sideways #5, and it is pretty much same creative team. We have, well, actually, no, I don't think it is. Robert Gill and Justin Jordan as storytellers. Justin Jordan as dialogue. John Rauch as colors. Carlos Emangual as letters. So that's crazy that they changed that. It was like Kenneth Rocafort and stuff. So anyways, yeah, we have this guy comes to this kid and he pulls him into this universe, and he's like, you can't give up, because this kid was going to give up, and he's like, you have to save the universe. You have to, you know, that's what you have to do. And then there's this guy, like the showrunner or something like that, and he's calling him out, and you know, this other kid picks on him at school, but then like his friend that's a chick, you know, is like about to fight him. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, so anyways, this guy's like, hey, yeah, I know this kid goes to school here, this Sideways kid and stuff, and he's like, I got to deal with him. Well, his powers is that he uses like the energy like to make himself more powerful. Like, so he has this crowd, and so he has a crowd, and that makes him more powerful. So it's aggravating them, making them angry, and so they're fighting with him, and that makes him stronger, and just like the emotion and the anger and stuff, the angst and stuff. And so he's like, I need to get this guy out of here so I can deal with him and stuff. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. It gets really real, and it's to the point where I'm like, I'm really impressed with this. I really like it a lot, and I'm really interested. I am down. I am down for this. I am totally down for this. I'm like, I'm in it. I'm in it. This is really realistic and really well done. I was impressed. I can give visually, it looks fantastic. Strong buy contender, and this is another one that's, I'm gonna have to add it. Cool. Next, Venom number 2. Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman as penciler. Well, Donny Cates is a writer, but Ryan Stegman is the penciler. J.P. Meyer is the inker. Frank Martin is colorist. Clayton Cowles letter. So we have Eddie Brock, and he has a gaping hole in his chest, and so the Venom like symbiote fills it and like recoups him, and then like he turns crazy, and like it's like almost like Asgardian or something, this evil and stuff, and it attacks this guy. He attacks this old man that sent him on this mission. He's able to control it right before he's about to kill him, and he's like, hey, do you know anything about this? And he's like explains the full story of like what happened to his old troops and stuff. And they're like, yeah, it's like from this dragon. And then you see this giant freaking dragon symbiote flying in the skies over New York City. And so he's like, yeah, don't go deal with that on your own. What does he do? He's going to go deal with it. But so is SpiderMan. So it looks amazing. It's really intense. It's really interesting. I really like how they're changing like the backstory and stuff, and they're making it fresh and they're making it new. It's really awesome. It's really interesting. This is the stuff that I want to see. Changing things and making it new and interesting again. So yeah, strong buy. I can give it a contender as well. Really solid stuff. I still have the code for the first one, so I guess if somebody wants it, share something of ours and you can have it. So yeah, here's the digital code though. D for Donatello, N for Nova, T for Tame, E for Echo, R for Rage, O for Oscar, 9, I for Icarus, 4, Z for Zach, Q for Quill, I for Icarus. Oh. Next is Plastic Man, and I thought it was going to be a ongoing, but it's a 6-issue miniseries. It's number 1. It is Gail Simone as the writer, artist Adriana Mello, colorist Kelly Fitzpatrick, letterer Simon Boland. And so it's just this guy, and he's like, yeah, this city, it's really, crappy. And then these guys, they beat him up. And so they just like freaking hammer out, well, not hammer, but they hammer away with him with a bat. And so he's all messed up, and then he recoups and stuff. Yeah, and so it's really funny. It's really cheesy. They go into his backstory and stuff. He pretends he turns himself into like a really awful fake Wonder Woman. But yeah, it's just, and then it just goes into his past, how he used to be a gangster and stuff like that, and how he got his powers, and he, in fact, like killed this security guard and stuff. And so he's like trying to make good on it. And it's really funny. This lady comes to get his help, and he's naked, but I don't know. It's just really funny, and really, I'm like, I love it. It's fantastic. It's just great. And it's kind of sad. But yeah, so this is a strong buy. It's a contender for sure. Gail Simone is just wonderful and amazing at everything that she does. No matter what characters, it seems like you could give her nothing and she'll just make it magic. But it looks fantastic too, and it's a lot of fun. And it's just, but it's also, there's a lot of great elements that well balanced. So yeah, strong buy contender. Cool. Next is Hunt for Wolverine, the Adamantium Agenda number 2. Tom Taylor is the writer. R.B. Silva is the penciler. Adriano Di Benedetto is the inker. Guru EFX is the color artist. Joe Sabino is the letterer. This one continues. So they're like, yeah, this explosion just went off where they can't find Logan. And he's all messed up and stuff. And he doesn't really... And he stabs Iron Man into his head. He stabs the Iron Man armor through his freaking skull, and you're like, "Oh my god!" And it's actually Tony Stark. He's just controlling his armor because of this explosion just happened. He's not going to be in the explosion. This radiation, that doesn't make sense. And so Wolverine's like, "Hey, if I would have died, like, you have to make me a promise that you would never let somebody use my body for like research or for to bring me back or make me evil or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I promise and stuff." Then they get back to what was going on before this auction, and it was funny. I'm going to spoil it. They had the DNA of the daughter of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, but nobody wants it because they're like, she's a kid. She doesn't even show powers, like she's a baby, whatever, who cares? And so then they're like, oh, okay. So Stark just buys it just for, and then someone notices him. But then there's some bads that notice him and some goods. And so, yeah, and it's really crazy. And so good guy, bad guy, stuff. And then there's a hole in the sub and they have to fix it. And it's funny and it's awesome and hilarious and freaking great. It's so awesome. So this is a strong buy. This is a contender without a doubt. Yes. I am going to hold on to this digital code because that's how freaking great it is. Boom. Ugh. Now it is time for the Man of Steel number 3 of 6. It is Bendis writing. And then we have Ryan Sook and Jason Fabok, artists. And then Wade Van Grabaja as inks, Alex Sinclair as colors, Josh Reed as letterers. So this is this guy, Rogel something, Var or whatever. And so he's doing his thing, tracking down Superman, I think. Superman's he needs help from Batman to figure out what's going on with these fires and stuff. And then he goes to, he's like, oh yeah, Fortress of Solitude been attacked. Him and Supergirl show up there and he's like, oh my god, all my stuff is trashed. Kandor has been taken. So yeah. And then it gets back to where that giant machine, I don't know, it's weird because there's like flashbacks where like he's getting attacked by this giant machine and then him and Supergirl face off against that guy. So art was a lot better in this one. Well, it was at least consistent in this one. I'll say that. And so that I liked. But it kind of jumps around a little bit and can be confusing at times. So I want to give it a strong buy, but I'll just give it a strong buy. No contender. So, yeah. Next is a book that I've been picking up but wasn't up to date with, and now I finally am. In its Analog, number 3, we have Gary Dugan is the writer, O. Sullivan is the artist, Michael Spicer is the colorist, Joe Sabino is the letterer, and it's essentially this hitman. His girlfriend went off to do some mission. He sees it in the newspaper, so he's like, oh crap, and you see what happened to them. And so she went to take down these white supremacists and stuff, because there's this building that's just like, oh, it's just all whites. And so, but she takes them on, and it was like 7 dudes, just her and 7 dudes with a knife. And so he goes to visit her at the vet because he fixes up those kinds of people. And then these people snatch him away, and they're like, hey, you gotta, make copies for us. And they're like, he doesn't know because he doesn't check what's in the packages, but it's a roll tape. And they're like, oh, we got to get a thing for this. So he's like, all right, well, let me go deal with this. So there was one guy that survived, and so he goes to help her deal with that guy and stuff. And everybody hates him because he's a racist piece of crap, and rightfully so. So, yeah, and so, yeah, and at the end, he's just kind of like, I need to get out of this game. Found a girl, you know, we work, you know, and stuff, because people in my job don't last long. And yeah, so really cool, really interesting. I like it a lot. It's really great. So yeah, I can give it a strong buy, and I can give it a contender. Looks fantastic, you know, and it's really great. So yeah. Next is Hawkman #1, and we have Robert Venditti as a writer, Brian Hitch as a penciler, Andrew Curie and Brian Hitch as inkers, Alex Sinclair as colors, Starkings and Comicraft as letters. And yeah, it's Hawkman, and he's looking for this. Well, actually, he's in this tomb or this, you know, place, and there's this giant ape statue that comes to life and attacks him. And then you see, like, he's talking on the boat with this guy, and he's like, yeah, you're a legend and stuff, you know. I think he's like Greek or something. And he's like, yeah, of course I would help you, you know, things have been rough, but yeah. And then you see how he got there, you know, to this place where there's this giant ape statue that came to life and is now attacking him because he stole this artifact from there that's going to help him, like, see get his past, his memories or something like that. And so he's like, yeah, well, apes can't fly. And then it grows wings and it follows him. And then, yeah, he has to smash it. And he gets help from this magic lady and stuff. And yeah, it goes through his past memories and then future. And he's like, yeah, I need to do this because the world's going to end if I don't figure this thing out. So yeah, really cool, really interesting. I'm down. It's pretty sweet. It looks fantastic and it's interesting. I'm interested. I didn't really know or care much about Hawkman, but because of Legends of Tomorrow, that's really where I got my intro to Hawkman and Hawkgirl. And so I'm definitely down for this. So yeah, I can give it a strong buy, and I can give it a contender as well. Next is Domino #3. It's the greatest. It's the greatest writer. Well, one of the best. I'll say that. We have Gail Simone, David Baldion with Anthony Piper as artist, Jesus Aburtov as colorist, Clayton Calls as letterer. And this one goes into her past, her being, like, tested as a mutant. You know, they would force her to use her powers. She was essentially imprisoned. They gave her a kitty as a gift that they take it away, you know. Then there's this lady, and she's like, oh, I'm going to use guns on her. I want to see, I'm going to choke her out. I'm going to do this by hand. But then this lady starts using her powers against her. And so it's like messing her up. She can't focus, you know. And so, but she fights it, and somehow her friends are okay. Well, but they explain it. The Hulk was like, Amadeus noticed it, so he turned into Hulk, smashed the boat, and grabbed them all and went into the water, and that's how they survived. But yeah, and so they're like, hey, do you know anything about it? You know, like, is anybody, you know, a mole or something? Is anybody, you know, are any of my friends selling us out? And he's like, honestly, I don't know. He's like, there's this one girl noticed something before it happened. I don't know if that's just because she's good at that or because she's part of it. So yeah. And then essentially he's like, hey, I know a guy and he'll help you figure out your powers. And she goes to that guy, and it's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. I can't wait to see what's to come, and it's really funny. Yeah. So they always puts that humor in there. Like I said, Gail Simone's great at putting humor, making it serious. You know, all these different elements that really work and push the movie, the movie, yeah, it feels like a movie, story forward. So strong buy and contender without a doubt. It's great. Flashbacks are black and white. That was really cool. Works really well. Strong buy contender. I'll give the digital code away anyways, despite how great this is. F for Familia, C for Carlos, N for Nova, H for Hector, 07, T for Tomas, U for Uganda, N for Novela, 4, C for Carlos, 3. Woo. Now I have the Flash 48, and it is still Joshua Williamson as the writer. We have Howard Porter as the artist, Hi-Fi as colorist, Steve Wands as letterer. And we have, this flashback to Wally West when he's teaching his kids. He's trying to spark their powers by racing them. And then he's in this museum where their suits are there. And Hunter Zolomon is there. And he's like, hey, don't fight me. Don't attack me. I'm here to help you, help you get your kids back. But really, he just wants help to get his powers back is what he wants. And so, and then the other people are like, hey, we're going to deal with this situation instead of dealing with that other thing. And so Flash, he's like, no, we're not. I went with you this whole time, but the promise was this, and you guys are going to stick to it. So he takes them out, and that's really cool. And they're like, they find Wally West, and they're like, this dude's going to trick you, man. You can't trust him. Things are getting messed up, and that's what they are getting messed up. And he's like, I've been there. You can't go back and change stuff. So it's the race is on between those two. It's really awesome. I want to see what happens. So yeah, strong buy contender, looks phenomenal, really great, really interesting, definitely moving it along. So like I said. Next is the New Mutants Dead Souls #4, Chapter 4, Isolation. Writer Matthew Rosenberg, artist Adam Gorham, color artist Michael Garland, letter Clayton Cowles. And so the plane is crashed, and Ileana teleported out, and Richter's dead, as well as the people on the plane and stuff. And they have this funeral, and Kitty is there to help her, and they have the funeral for Richter, and Ileana goes up there because she was the team leader, and she talks, and then she talks to her brother, and then Wolfsbane attacks Strongman and stuff. They get into a tiff. Then she gets into a tiff with Ileana too, and then Ileana goes off on Danny Moonstar, and it breaks this thing. It turns out she was actually in like a mind thing, and so it breaks that. The plane is about to crash. She teleports the entire plane, and then it's gone for like a few days and teleports, and they're able to crash land in water. And then you see this warlock has been attacked and stuff. This is an amazing book, and it may have not started off that great, but it just keeps getting better and better exponentially with every single issue, where I go like, this is not real, this is not real, this didn't really happen. And they sold it. And then as soon as they sold it, they go back on it, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense, I guess. And it just worked out really well. This is a phenomenal book. Like, visually gets big, keeps getting better. Writing-wise, it's phenomenal. This is going to be a great series to get in trade if you're not getting it in issues. So know that. Despite that, this is so great. Despite how great that is, I'm still going to give the digital code away. Here it is. 8, H for Hotel, W for Wolverine, W for Wolverine, 1, Q for Quasar, 6, W for Wolverine, R for Richter, T for Tank, 4, E for Echo. Whew. Now it's time for Detective Comics. And it is Michael Morisi as the writer, Sebastian Fuimara as the artist, Dave Stewart as colors, Clem Robbins as letters. This was very dark. This is very gritty, and that is how I like my Batman. Yes, I do. He is in the sewers. The homeless have been taken over by this ghost of this guy, and it even it goes through Batman, and it's starting to affect his mind as well. And I think so it gets to him, and he doesn't think that these things are real, but they are real. And so they hit him, and he falls, and he goes into this crazy city, and he's fighting all these mind Fs. And there's this kid, and he's supposed to become this new leader because he's like the grandson or something like that of this like religious leader or something like that. and stuff. And so it's trying to take control over him. And then he goes into like his own mindscape to get help from the Bat family essentially and stuff and fight this thing and save the kid, you know. And he's like, I just got to save this kid. And he takes this kid up, you know, and shows him the view. It's great. I love this stuff. That's like these one shots that are dark and they're gritty and they're one-offs. It's phenomenal. I love it. So I can give it a strong buy. I can give it a contender. I love this stuff. I think Batman should look dark and gritty. That's my thoughts. And it was very like detective style issue too, you know. So yeah, totally dug it. Strong buy. I can strong buy and contender for that for sure. Next is Exiles number 4, and Saladin Ahmed is the writer, Javier Rodriguez penciler, Alvaro Lopez is inker, Chris O'Halloran colorist, Joe Caravagna as colors. Once again, we have this intro by The Unseen, and then see, that's the thing, is this thing is kind of like, I like it, but I don't like it at the same time because it jumps around and things don't make sense. So this atomic bomb went off in the last issue, and now all of a sudden they're in another universe, and it's like, you guys should all be dead. Like, that thing went off. But instead they're going, oh yeah, it just sparked into another universe. And now the Talus is gone. They can't find the Talus. They're on this island shipwrecked. Then these colonizers show up, you know, and slavers, and attack them and stuff. They protect this guy, and then the Thing shows up. He has this beard. Has a pirate ship crew and stuff, and he's like, hey, I'll help you, you know, but we got to stop this guy. Falcon is there. Bucky Barnes is there. Essentially, they're like, hey, the universes are collapsing on each other. That's why we have all these crazy characters all in the same stories. But so they do stop this thing, and then they go get the Talus and find this weird pocket universe, and they find out who has been eating time. And you're like, okay, that makes sense. Okay. So they're getting to it. I'm wondering if this is just going to be a mini series because of the way that it's going, kind of. Like I said, I like it, but it's like, and it's fun, but it's also like, it doesn't entirely make sense. And I think that's kind of the point, but it's kind of, you know, I don't know. So I can give it a strong buy, but I'm not giving it a contender for anything. Yeah. Here's the digital code. Tell me what you think. F for Familia, C for Carlos, N for Marcos, N for Novela, C for Carlos, 3, Z for Zorro, 2, 6, V for Villanueva, F for Familia, R for Rigoberto. And it's time for Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Part 3, Batgirl vs. Riddler, number 1. We have Tim Seeley as a writer, Min-Kyu Jung is the penciler, Jose Marzan Jr. is the inker, Jordi Belair is colorist, epilogue artist is Otto Schmidt, and then letter Dave Sharp. And so there's a Walkman or something like that, and a tape player, and Riddler left it for Batgirl. Essentially, he's like, yeah, if Batman can find love, maybe I can find love. I just need someone that can challenge me intellectually. And so he leaves all these clues, you know, kidnapped all these people. And so she has to go save them and stuff. And that's essentially what it is. And I love the Riddler because I like to try to figure out, but I never do, what his riddles are. I can never figure them out. But they're so in the story, too, that I'm like, I guess if I wasn't in the place and knew the place. So, yeah, and essentially she's just like, yeah, I could never stand you, you know, and all these things. And, yeah, beats him up and deals with him thusly. And then is like, maybe I should give Nightwing a call. And then, yeah. So, it's, yeah. Yeah, I liked it. It was enjoyable. It's not the greatest, but it's a nice one-shot. You know, I always love Batgirl, and it was an interesting thing. So I can give it a buy. I mean, it looks great. I want to give it a strong buy. It's time for a commercial break, though. And I'm going to be talking about Duke City Comic-Con this time around because we have press passes. We got a few press passes to Duke City Comic-Con. And so that's going to be a thing that's going on. And yeah, so that is going to be for the, when is it? The 1st, right? The 1st of July or something. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, I want to say. And oh yeah, so this guy, so they got this guy, Will Traval. He's from Jessica Jones. He'll be there Saturday only, but he played Nuke. I really liked his character in the 1st season. I mean, he's in the 2nd season as well. Tom Kane, he did the voice for Yoda, as well as many other characters from like Clone Wars, Last Jedi, Powerpuff Girls, and stuff like that. Yeah, so. And then and Jonathan Joss from King of the Hill, the Magnificent Seven, and yeah, so and but mostly like it's all about the cosplayers, man. Like it's go for the cosplayers, like the people that are going to attend, but also the ones that are like legit there. I think Deva Renee cosplay is going to be there, and she is the coolest. And she's a hardcore Star Wars fan. That's why I love her, and I love chatting with her. I cannot wait to talk to her about Solo and about The Last Jedi, because both those movies, I feel like we're on a downslope for Star Wars here. And so I can't wait to see what she has to say or what she thinks. And she's just a wonderful human being. And as well as... we're going to have Kamon Tari. She's going to be there. Mattis Maddie cosplay as well. And many more there. So it's going to be great. Billy Gunn, Dirk something. I don't know. But yeah, some Power Rangers. Mostly we're going to go and we're going to do trivia for you. So go there. You know, it's going to be the Albuquerque. I think it's like the downtown, old town. In Old Town, that's where the hotel is. That's where it's going to be at. So check it out, get your tickets, and all that stuff. So yeah, check them out. Follow them on Facebook so you can get the updates. And they do giveaways all the time, so you want to do that. Cool. Next is Star Wars Thrawn #5. It is Jody Hauser as a writer. Luke Ross is the artist. Nolan Woodard is a colorist. Clayton Cowles is the letterer. And I just love it. I just love this. I love this guy. He's just so smart. So he's just viewing from this like ship on the sidelines, and you see like this guy gets attacked. This other Imperial ship gets attacked. They're not an Imperial ship, so that's why they can't get in trouble. But they are like, hey, we got some trade for you guys, and stuff. And then they notices the guy, and he's like, oh, crap, this is Night Swan. Holy crap. So Thrawn kind of set him up, but it was perfect because he didn't know, and so it was genuine. And then they're like, all right, we're going to make this plan. And so they make this plan, but even this guy's like, this plan isn't the regular Thrawn plan. Like, it doesn't seem that well thought out. And they're like, yeah, there's a lot of risks going on here. There's a lot of what ifs and stuff. And so the governor, Price, she goes down, visit her family and stuff. She's trying to get their help. And so, yeah, you're like, who's setting up Hoop? What's going on? It'll all be clear in the next one. This one was very much set up, and so I know it's going to be cleared up in the next one. Still enjoyable, not quite as strong, but still really solid. Visually, looks amazing, so definitely worth it there. I can give it a strong buy for the runner-up, but not quite contender. It's not that great. I think the next one will be though. So yeah, here's the digital code: F for Falcon, C for Chameleon, M for Millennium, A for Alpha 6, R for Rage 643, Z for Zabrak, Q for Quintessence, E for Echo. Whatever. I don't even care. Now it's time for Wonder Woman, The Dark Gods. It's number 48. It is Robinson is the writer. I can't even see that. It's too small. It's freaking malarkey. Marino and Jamulo Fajardo, I want to say, is colors, Junior. Right? And so anyways, this one pulls into from the annual. So if you listen to that one, you'll know this one, she was the Star Sapphires took her, and so now her brother, he's there. He has this armor where he can channel the other powers. So he's fighting all these gods that have revealed themselves, and he channels the different powers. You know, he uses the speed of Hermes. He uses this and that. Then the Justice League shows up to help. Well, now these people, they take, or this one, there's one statue left, takes over the Justice League. And so now they have control of the Justice League. And then Wonder Woman shows up, and she's like, I'm here to help you. And then that's the end. But we're going to see what happens in the next one. So, yeah. Pretty solid, pretty interesting. I liked it, got me into it. You know, I mean, it's in an arc, but yet I'm in it. I was for it. I'm about it. So you got me into it. Cool. Looks pretty solid. Right on. I can give it a strong buy for like a, yeah, I can give it a strong buy. Now it's time for S.H.I.E.L.D. number 6. I believe this is the final one. It's written, illustrated by Jonathan Hickman and Dustin Weaver. Colors, Sonia Obach. Letters, Todd Klein. Yeah. And so I don't even know. This is confusing. It's Hickman. It's mind-blowing. It's great. It's brilliant. It's genius. It's Dustin Weaver. It looks phenomenal. It's crazy. And so essentially he just goes like, I'm going to give you a choice, because he has these two people that are on opposite sides fighting for S.H.I.E.L.D. And he goes, I'm going to give you both what you want. You want to see the end of the world? I'll give you the end of the world. You want to see it continue? I'll help you let it continue. He essentially becomes the potential of humanity. They explain that, go into that, you know, how it's had help and stuff. And so, yeah, it's just all kinds of crazy. It's phenomenal. This is going to be one that I feel like you have to read it in trade. And it's really weird because it's like I just read the thing that was a compilation, and I'm still somewhat confused, but that's sci-fi Hickman for you. I feel like I need to reread it. So, yeah. But they have it coming out in trade soon. I know it's a strong buy. I know it's contender. It's just brilliant. It looks phenomenal. Dustin Weaver's amazing. So, yeah, here's the digital code. F for Familia, C for Carlos, N for Marcos, X for Xavier, Q for Quintana, E for Alamos, H for Hector, L for Lupita, T for Tomas, Q for Quintana, R for Rigoberto. And I have the Immortal Man number 3 with it's Benjamin, James Tynion the fourth, Friend, and Baron for a creative team. So this one, everyone's explaining themselves. You know, it's things have kind of calmed down a little bit. They're explaining themselves to this kid, you know, and his own abilities. And the Immortal Man reveals himself, tells his story, and as well as other stories. Then it also goes into the Source Wall and all that breaking. And these evil, you know, the Batman who laughs. I miss the Batman who laughs. He's so great. And this guy is torturing this other guy, so it goes into both their backstories a little. But then, like, somebody is attacking them, so they really have to get their crap together. Real quick, Ryan Benjamin and James Tynion the fourth, storytellers, Richard Friend, inker, David Barron as colorist, Carlos Emanuel is letter. So, yeah, this agent of what's his name of the Batman who laughs has been sent to go take him out. I liked it. It's good. It's interesting. I feel like, I don't know. It's not quite there for me. It's not an ad for me yet. But I'm liking it, so I can give it a buy. Now on to Darth Vader number 17. It is Charles Soules, the writer, Giuseppe Camuncoli as layouts, Danielle Orlandini as finishes, David Chiodiel as colors, and Joe Caramagna as letterer. And yeah, so this guy, his plan is worked out. And so these clones, they end up attacking these people that used to be Jedi. They're the Inquisitors. And so they get attacked by them, and he's like, you know, so they make a run for it, him and this other girl. She's not a Jedi, so they don't attack them. Vader attacks Lee Char, and yeah, and so Lee Char's like, you know, keep on fighting and stuff. And then the Jedi, he actually set this up. He's like, yeah, I'm not a Jedi anymore. I betrayed, you know, this and people's trust. He's like, I do have a vision that this is going to happen, though. But Lee Char's like, I'm not going to fight because you set us up. You know, and he gives up, but then the Empire attacks anyways, and so, you know, it's a sad ending, but it's Vader, and it works really well, and it's fantastic and phenomenal, and it's just amazing and just great. It works the way it's supposed to work, you know. It's really well done. I can give it a strong buy and a contender for sure. Here's the digital code. F for Falcon, C for Chameleon, M for Millennium, V for Vane, N for Nova, Y for 0, J for J, 9, 3, R for Rage, Y for Now it's the Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, number 46. Robert Venditti is writer. We have Clayton Henry as the artist, color artist, Pete Pantazis, letterer, Dave Sharp. And so we have Guy Gardner. He is a Dark Star now. He goes to kill his father, who is an alcoholic, and his dad's, you know, going to meetings and stuff, and he's trying his best. Kyle Rayner, he goes to get help from Orion, but the old gods, they're like, we are not dealing with you guys anymore. And he's like, I saved your life. I saved both of you, and I saved Orion, and you guys won't help me. This is bullcrap. But I think Orion's going to help him anyways. And then, yeah. And so, but someone shows up to stop Guy. And it's going to be pretty epic and pretty awesome. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be pretty sweet. So I like it a lot. It's really great. It's really cool. It's not – I think for maybe some people it might be like what you expected, but for me it's not, just because I thought like Guy Gardner was above it, but apparently not, and we'll see. So, yeah. Yeah. I can give it a strong buy, contender. Next is The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, number 9. Actually, this is in the wrong stack, I believe. Yeah, this is absolutely in the wrong stack. Never mind. I think that one's in the wrong stack, too. That one's also in the wrong stack. Sorry, I apologize. I obviously don't have my crap together. It's time for Old Man Logan. It is still Ed Brisson as the writer, Francesco Mana as the artist, Carlos Lopez as color artist, Corey Petit as letterer. And so this one, this guy, this Asian couple with this bar, restaurant, whatever, they have Logan's hand, and so somebody buys it off of them, and it is Kraven the Hunter. It's Logan's hand that was cut off, and then he gets into a brawl at this place. He's like, this is exactly what I need. Take on these freaking losers. And then it turns to be a setup. Kraven takes Logan to the Savage Land so he can hunt him. And it's great because he's like, you know, I wanted to hunt you when you were in your prime, but now I don't have the chance, but I do want to at least hunt you in this condition and stuff. So that's what he does. He lets him loose in Savage Land, and he's going to hunt him down, and that's what he does. And yeah, and Logan's like, oh, I hate Savage Land. because it's Savage and just dinosaurs and stuff, and they're fighting it out, those two. It's pretty epic and it's pretty awesome. I like it a lot. It's really cool. Strong buy, contender. I'm down for this arc for sure. Here's a digital code. J for Jones, Q for Quill, 9, X for X-Men, 5, M for Mark, R for Richter, P for Pietro, 6, Q for Quasar, M for Marco, 9. Let's see. I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 83. It is story Kevin Eastman, Bobby Curnow, and Tom Waltz. Story Tom Waltz. Art Dave Wachter. Colors Rhonda Pattison. Sean Lee is letters. And so the Turtles are there to go visit Man-Myth, and they're attacking. So he attacks them. He's like, yeah, you got to fight to survive. And so they split up, but there's not much places to hide or run away. So then they team up. And then Mikey's like, oh, I have an idea. Guys, can you distract him? He distracts him. He sets up a snare for him. So they get him in a snare, and they attack him. They have him pinned, and he's like, okay. And then you see Baxter, Stockman, and April. And April's like, hey, we have this rat problem. How should we deal with it? Mousers. So you're like, yes. And you see the Rat King there. And then you see Jenica, and she's talking to the mob, you know, and they attack her ninjas and stuff. But then Casey Jones and the Dragons, they show up to help. Man-Myth does end up talking to them, and, you know, has a little chat with Raph. It's pretty great. And so they go to deal with Rat King. Yeah. Love it. Buy it and trade if you don't get it in issues. It's great in issues. I want it in both. Strong buy contender. Next is Punisher 226. Matthew Rosenberg is the writer. Artist Stefano Landini. Colorist Lee Loveridge. Letterer Croy Petit. And so we have Punisher. He goes to the CIA. He's like, I want all your files on Hydra. And so he gets the info he needs. Then he goes after Zemo. Zemo doesn't want to run. Well, Zemo sets him up. He invites all these mercenaries to attack him, and they're like, dude, you're slow in that armor. You're not fast anymore, so we can take you. Crossbones, Taskmaster, Ghost, all, you know, and they're all taking him on. But Frank, he won't give up without a fight. He's like, I'm going to take you on however I can. He just wants to kill Zemo. And so they destroy his armor and stuff. They're about to take him out, and then some other peeps show up. This other crew shows up, and so yeah, it's and then he's like, all right, you know, I'm gonna go do this and take him out. And so, but some people are down to help him, and of this group, and some people aren't. Awesome, fantastic, wonderful, great, strong buy, contender. I'll give the digital code away anyways. Here it is. Z for Zach, A for Attack, Y for Yank, D for Dank, I for Icarus, H for Hank, 0, I for Icarus, M for Mark, 7, Q for Quill, 7. And I have last book, Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man 305. It is writer Chip Zdarsky, artist Adam Kubert, color artist Jason Keith and Andrew Crossley, letterer Travis Lanham. And yeah, so Spider-Man is this Peter Parker. He's about to step up. He's like, hey, lady, I know you're a mole. Quit BSing me. Then they're there with this Doom. He's there to fix that time portal for them, so they can get back to their own time and dimension. And then at the same time, you have all the Spider-Man villains attacking along with... But Peter Parker suits up, and it's cool because it looks like the Peter Parker from the Spider-Man game. He has the white, and he has all this tech added to it, and so it's pretty cool. And so, yeah, that's pretty neat. Alternate this is when this issue gets great. The last one, I was like, okay, this one's freaking awesome. Something happens to their Peter Parker. Someone else has to lead the charge. Yeah, so, but they got to do their thing. And yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. I liked it. It was pretty solid. I'm interested to see them get back to their own thing, though. But still enjoyable nonetheless. Strong by contender for, I would say, runner-up. Here's digital code. I for Ignacio, V for Villanueva, G for Gloria, 2, B for Barrio, J for Juanita, G for Gloria, 5, Z for Zorro, 3, Z for Zorro, S for Senorita. Yeah. So it's time for me to announce my back and bag and a runner-up of the week. So I'm going to go ahead and get into that because I have these books here. These are what we got. Turtles. Turtles is always great. Adamantium Agenda. That's been freaking amazing. Punisher and Analog. So great. I'm going to have to go with, though, the Weatherman as my runner-up. And then, yeah, it was just fun and funny, and I love the art, and I'm really interested to see what happens next. And you got me sucked in. I care about these characters from issue 1. It didn't take an issue 2. You got me with 1. So I care. And yeah, so that's what it took, and that's what it did, and you did it, right? But this has to be my B-Bow, the Adamantium Agenda, because of it had it all. It was very emotional. And it was very crazy because I thought, like, oh my God, you just stabbed Iron Man in the head. And it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense why he wouldn't actually be there because of the radiation. And then the parents, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, they get mad because they're auctioning off their daughter's DNA, but nobody wants it because they're like, she's not even superpowered. And so it ends up being a nothing issue that you thought was going to be a huge issue. They're like, they're going to lose their crap in the sub. Nope, they didn't. But there's this other person that notices Tony Stark. He got found by Sinister, and so Sinister attacks them, makes a hole, and Jessica Jones fills that hole with Luke Cage, and then Spider-Man helps too with that, and then Wolverine, all new Wolverine, she slices off Sinister's hand and like reveals herself. That was awesome, and that was wicked. So yeah, that was freaking amazing. So strong by contender. This might be Bow right here. It was so great. So yeah, if you want that digital code, all you got to do is share this podcast. All you got to do is share. You can share the audio or you can share the video. I don't care. Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, any of them. Share them anywhere, retweet them, whatever. Share the video or the audio or the website post. I don't care. Share it in one way or another. That's yours. These are stacking up, and I'm just putting them in the back and baggings, and no one's getting them. I don't care. I don't care. Nobody wants to share it. It's easy. It's easy. It's a retweet. It takes a second. So anyways, that's my rant. You can find all our stuff at TNTMTheShow. That's YouTube. That's everything. I already said all our stuff. So yeah, and that's it for me for now. So keep your eyes hungry, folk comics.